Today's Yin class, we are going to be releasing the entire body posteriorly. So looking at that chain, which actually starts at the bottom of the feet and then runs up through the Achilles, up through your calves, your hamstrings, glutes, and at the back into the neck. So begin by sitting comfortably. You can rest your hands on your knees if you like. And close your eyes, long neck, breathing into the belly. Coming into the right mind space for your practice. Setting your intentions to remain present, to listen to the body, observe the body, and keep the connection with the breath. Feel that mind slowing down, letting go of any thoughts. Observe your body. So not staying too long in this opening meditation, as our entire Yin practice is meditation in itself, as we come into stillness. Slowly open the eyes. We're going to come into our first pose. So you will need a few things for this class. Blanket, and then a rolled up yoga mat. If you don't have an extra yoga mat, just roll up the mat that you are using, and then you can unroll it for the rest of the poses. And you'll also need a strap. So let's come into our first pose, and we're going to start with the feet. Blanket if you have any issues, like me. Remembering that you can do whichever version of the pose works for you. So just engage all 10 toes on the ground, and if this is where you need to stay, then stay here. If you can drop the weight back towards the heels, do so. If you can sit up onto the heels with your back nice and straight, that's fantastic. Just do whatever works for you and relax. Send your breath into your feet. There's so much fascia running through the feet, through the bottom of the feet, and this really gets in there. Always focusing on the breath. Observing your reaction of your body. Breathing out any tension you might be holding. Now preparing to move out of your pose. Move very slowly. So if you are sitting up on your heels, come down so that your hands are on the ground, and then slowly shift that weight forward, and then release the toes. And if you like, you can just sort of tap your toes out on the mat. You might feel your feet actually want to cramp after this. So just move slowly, you're in no rush. And then coming onto your feet for your next pose as we move up the body. So your next pose, I forgot to mention you'll need blocks as well. Get your rolled up yoga mat. And you're elevating your toes here. So we're really getting into the backs here through the Achilles and up into the calves. And we're just going to do forward fold with the toes elevated. If this is too uncomfortable for you just to dangle down, you can use your blocks and just support the upper body with those blocks, whatever height you like. So just play around. As always with these poses, what you may find is that after a few moments in the pose, you start getting that release and you want to move deeper into the pose. Then do that incrementally. If you're happy, you can just lightly hold on to the elbows and dangle.
just move out of this pose slowly. If you are dangling, just release the elbows. If you're using blocks, place your hands on the mat, bend the knees, and step carefully and slowly back into downward facing dog. And you can just slowly pedal the heels, getting some movement in those calves. And then we move down onto the mat for our next pose. So we've done the feet, we've moved up to the calves, and now we're going to look at our hamstrings. So get your strap and come down onto your back. And you are going to hook the strap just around the bottom of the right foot and extend your left leg along the ground. Don't worry about that leg being active or the toes flexed. And you're just going to draw this leg in towards the body. And try to relax the shoulders. Breathe. Surrender to the stretch. Exhale any resistance. Increase that stretch at any time. And then come into stillness once more. Now you're going to move very mindfully coming out of this pose. It may help just to hold on to this strap to give your leg a bit of support. Move slowly, let that hamstring come back to its normal length. Rest it on the mat for a moment. And then when you're ready, extend it along the ground and bend the left leg as we come in. So bring that strap around the bottom of the left foot and get a nice hold on it. If holding the strap like this makes your hand tired, then just create a loop by placing it through the middle and then back on itself on the outside. And you can make this loop as big or small as you like and hook the foot through there. And then just kind of hold onto it instead of gripping tightly. If this is more comfortable for you, then do that. Just let this right leg do whatever it likes. If it wants to flop out to the side, that's breathe. Observe this left leg. Notice, is it perhaps tighter than the right? Or is it more comfortable? Once again, moving mindfully as we come out. This pose, you can support
that leg with the strap. Move slowly down to the mat. Let it rest halfway before extending it along the ground. So moving up from the hamstrings, coming into the glutes. Bend that right leg. We're going to come into twisted roots in Yin. So bend that right leg, place the foot on the left knee and take the outside of that right thigh with the left hand and bring that knee across the body. So you'll recognize this from your final twist before Shavasana. And then slowly start working that shoulder down towards the ground. We're not so strict about keeping everything pinned to the mat. Let your body fall the way that it wants to fall. Listen to the body. And you can extend that right arm away from you and either turn the gaze in the opposite direction, or if your neck prefers to remain neutral. So we're getting the outside of the glute here. And also getting into the lower back and through the mid-spine. Breathe, relax. Imagine your spine is being wrung out. It's getting rid of all that tension. Every time you exhale, that tension is removed from the body and expelled. Releasing that thigh, keeping the leg bent, going back onto the back. Place that foot on the ground. Stay here for a few breaths, and then when you're ready, let's bend that left leg and extend the right. So we come into the other side, left foot on the right knee, and then take a hold of the outside of that left thigh as you draw that knee across the body, and slowly start working this left shoulder towards the mat, encouraging that beautiful twist through the spine, through the lower back, the glute, and then you can extend that left arm along the ground. You don't have to, if it's more comfortable for you, just to keep it bent or even just resting
On the body, it's entirely up to you. This is your practice. Listen to your body and do instinctively what feels right. Still body, still mind. Remaining present, observing and connecting with your breath. Again, moving slowly, mindfully. Release that thigh. Come back onto your back. Place that left foot on the ground. And then when you're ready, extend it along the ground. From twisted roots, we come into twisted branches. So move over onto your belly. We've done this before. Now we're going to stretch out the upper back and across the back of the shoulders. Release the scapula a bit. So we're going to do one arm at a time. So extend your left arm out underneath the chest towards the right, palm facing down. And then you can just rest the forehead on the right arm. And moving to the other side.
Just swap arms. Extending that right arm along the ground. And just pillowing the forehead on your left arm. And breathe into the backs of these shoulders. And let's come out of this pose. Come back onto your back. For your last pose, we're now up at the top of the neck. So you grab your block and you're going to, so that it sits on one of its edges, and then its diagonally opposite edge is going to be placed at the base of the skull where that trapezius attaches. So placing some direct pressure on that muscle to help relieve some tension. So just, it might take a few goes to kind of get the angle right. Otherwise, the block kind of wants to flip onto its flat edge. So once you've found that sweet spot, you can just relax. Maybe more comfortable for you to keep your legs bent, your feet flat on the ground, and if you like, bring the feet to the outside of the mat and let the knees fall against one another. That just kind of opens up through that sacrum and makes it a little bit more comfortable. If you like, you can place your hands on your belly and just feel that belly rise and fall as you breathe. This direct pressure on the muscle at the base of the skull might actually induce some headaches, which you may recognize from that tension. Just make sure you drink plenty of water, flush the system out after your practice, and take it easy, be kind to yourself.
So let's come slowly now out of the pose. If you like, bring your hand behind your head just to support it, so you don't carry any tension to the neck as you remove the block, and slowly lower the head back down to the mat. And you can come straight into Shavasana now. I will link that video down below. And what you may want to do is just skip the final twist and go straight into your meditation.